4 reasons to care about your digital footprint. What is a digital footprint? We're used to looking at all kinds of information on the internet, but the internet, it seems, is looking back at us. When we visit websites to get information, do social sharing, send instant messages and email, we leave something behind. Our digital footprints are the traces we leave behind as we use the internet. Digital footprints have both benefits and costs. For instance, they may offer convenience by saving you time logging in or retyping your personal details. The trade-offs, well, that's what the Internet Society's digital footprint tutorials are about. Most of us realize that when we consciously share information on social media or upload pictures, we lose some degree of privacy. But we are less likely to think about the footprints we create by default, simply by searching the web, shopping online, or enabling location services. And as the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. It's hard to manage something you've never seen. It's not uncommon for people to say, I have nothing to hide, so why should I care about my digital footprints? There are many reasons, some of which we'll explore in a moment. But the simplest one is this. Your digital footprints reveal a lot about you. They build up into a detailed picture of your likes and habits, and that information has commercial value. Our digital footprints are monetized by organizations with which we have no relationship and which we can't control. Few internet users realize how intimate their digital footprints are, or how commonly the resulting data is shared by third parties. One online security company has identified more than 200 third-party advertisers and 630 tracking technologies collecting individuals' data on the web. Are you logged into Facebook, Twitter, or Google right now? If so, they're tracking your visits to any web page with a like, tweet, or +1 button, whether or not you click on that button. Every site you visit gives them more information to store and commercialize. There's an implicit bargain there, but who's getting the best of it? Now let's look at some of the other reasons your digital footprints matter. While the reasons will differ depending on you, your country, and your culture, they will probably fall into one of 4 categories: protecting your reputation, maintaining your ability to decide where and how your personal information is shared, preventing financial loss, preserving your freedom. Protecting your reputation. Even if you have nothing to hide, not everything about you is appropriate to every audience for all time. Your digital footprints can be taken out of context and misinterpreted. If you search online for appeal against speeding fine, a third party could assume your search related directly to your own situation, whether or not that is the case. If you use a credit or debit card to pay the bar bill for a group of friends, and later use a card to cover your parking costs, it could create the impression that you drive after drinking, even if you were the designated driver for the evening. And is a third party really entitled to see that data or to draw those conclusions? Reputation is a social, interpersonal judgment tempered by forgiveness and forgetfulness. You can't rely on the internet for any of those. Deciding where and how your personal information is shared. Everyone has information that they only want to share in specific contexts. You may share medical information with family, but not necessarily your boss. In some countries, it may be important that your religious beliefs are known only to a few. There are probably circumstances under which you're comfortable sharing personal information with organizations through the internet, but wouldn't want that same data spread around. With today's tracking mechanisms, most internet users don't have the control to prevent that kind of spread. There's no easy way on the internet to say no to most forms of tracking, and certainly no way to say you can share this but not that. Commercial tracking aside, there's also the law enforcement aspect. Microsoft, Google, Twitter, Facebook, and Yahoo have all released user data to governments on demand, and there is growing concern about the number of apps that leak users' personal data. Online services can greatly reduce subscribers' ability to control their own information. Preventing financial loss. Identity theft is a global issue. As digital footprints are aggregated into larger databases, digital thieves can obtain data about tremendous numbers of people, facilitating identity-related crime. User authentication systems add detail to these databases. For example, what was your first pet's name? Which we might already have disclosed in some other context without thinking about it. When such an aggregation of data is hacked, it's all the easier for criminals to impersonate others for financial gain or other purposes. Even other people's digital footprints can affect your creditworthiness. One returning honeymooner found that his credit limit had been lowered from about $11,000 to $4,000. The credit card company explained that Other customers who use their card at establishments where you recently shopped have a poor repayment history. Based on similar kinds of data and inference, financial services company could steer you to credit card offers with higher interest rates and lower credit limits. An insurer could deny you coverage or charge you more for it based on your digital footprints. Maintaining your freedom. Your digital footprints can also affect your freedom to express yourself, and in some places, even your liberty and well-being. Many governments routinely track social media sites, instant messaging services, and chat rooms, and some may arrest people for political statements made in these venues. Surveillance software may be used to intercept communications to and from human rights activists, and this has resulted in cases of arrest and torture. Recently, some mobile phone users in Kiev received a text message saying, "Dear subscriber, you have been registered as a participant in a mass riot," based on the location of their handsets, not necessarily on whether they were there or what they were doing. Law enforcement action based on this kind of inference comes with a high risk of error and injustice. There are softer forms of freedom, too. You may find your freedom to access information limited based on assumptions about where you are. Again, using data from your digital footprints that may or may not be reliable. Imagine for a moment that based on your online activities, your reputation was tarnished, your intimate details were broadcast to the world, you were defrauded, or even that you were arrested and jailed. Any one of those outcomes could be devastating, but the more of our lives we conduct online, the more exposed we are to these kinds of risk. How do people feel about that? Research in India found that 40% of those surveyed said they shop online using unsecured Wi-Fi networks, and about 20% share passwords with others. On the other hand, in a Malaysian survey, 86% said they are concerned that mobile apps might be collecting personal information without their permission, and more than half of those with concerns state that they limit their use of apps. Among readers of the Wall Street Journal, 60% expressed concern about the loss of online privacy, and the figure is almost 70% for U.S. consumers as a whole. People's perception of the risks clearly varies greatly, but we think it's vital to understand how your digital footprints relate to your privacy and safety and what you can do about it. For tutorials and suggestions about how to manage your digital footprints, visit internetsociety.org/footprint. Click on How Can I Manage My Digital Footprints? Explore the other links on that page for background information and practical tips.